And now I have an important question. I'm bracing myself. How are you at dancing? Oh boy, I'm freaking horrible at dancing, but quite good. I'm quite good, actually. What a coincidence. So am I. Shall we show the rest of the party how it's done? Hey all you cool creatures. I'm Cryptid. Welcome to the Cryptid Plays YouTube channel. And today we are going to be playing more of Obscura. And in today's video, I intend to start Oleander's route. He is the merchant. We left off right where I can go meet him. And I'm excited to meet him. Also, this intro is so good. I love it. Now, Oleander's route does come with its own warnings. They all do. Obviously, last time I had read out the general warnings for the game, but I will read out the warnings specifically for Oleander's route, and I will do that for all of the routes in this game. Sorry, I keep switching how I say that word. But anyways, let me pull up the warnings for his route. I believe his is pretty tame. Obviously there's not going to be any explicit stuff, at least in this chapter, but I'm not sure if there will be in later chapters. Alright, Oleander is the player's boss and love interest and actively manipulates the player character into helping with things they may not have agreed to. Optional alcohol use that does not affect the outcome of play. Optional alcohol use that does affect the outcome of play. Discussions of human trafficking, trafficking of human body parts, player character death by poison, non-player character death by poison, player character is indirectly propositioned for sex, other characters have intimacy out of sight with audio cues. Well, alright. I will probably at least censor those audio cues because we're not going to see anything. But with that out of the way, let's get started. You know, I forgot how much this music actually slaps, but anyhow, I think Oleander is the laughing crowd because I think the wealthy stranger is the adventurer. Approach the laughing crowd. I climb the 3 stairs to the higher platform and sneak around the circle of people. Someone's going to be leading the conversation, and I want to see who it is. Another peal of laughter erupts from the brightly dressed group. I think I can see the person in the middle of this conversation, beaming and conducting the hangers-on like a choir. And that's not even the worst of it. By the way, I am sorry that I have such a high-pitched voice. I'm going to try to give all these beautiful characters appropriately deep voices, but still. No, the worst part was the singing. The laughter dies down. Everyone is waiting for the next punchline. I was sitting there trying not to lose all my hearing in one night, and I realized exactly what it sounded like. He sang like an angel, choking on. I know what he was gonna say. Oleander, we've got news. A masked attendant pushes into the circle and towards the conductor of this merry group. Your timing is impeccable, as always. The attendant either doesn't notice or chooses to ignore his snippy tone. I didn't exactly say it in a snippy tone. I apologize. I said it more sarcastically. From the Seven Sisters estate. The attendant hands over a letter. The man, Oleander, steps back a little to read it. One of the merrymakers around me starts to grouse. It's always when he's about to get to the best part. I swear Ollie's cursed. Careful, he doesn't like that. Doesn't like what? Complaining? That's rich. The nicknames. It's Oleander or nothing. Before the first stranger can say something, I cut it. Oleander is his name? Is he the host of this little fete? The two look at me and the pause hangs on a little longer than I want. Why are you here if you don't even know who Oleander is? Well, the doors were open and the music is good. I'm trying to read their body language, figure out exactly what kind of faux pas I've made, if I've even made one. So, you just came in? If it was meant to be a closed party, I'm certain someone rich enough to host this has the money to spare for a sign, "Do not enter, very private event." I'm bracing for some flavor of insult. I'm not poorly dressed by any means, but I stand out here through my sheer lack of flamboyance. When an arm goes around my shoulder. Oh, the sign. I forgot to put up the sign. Although you're not quite right. My sign is supposed to say, "No downers allowed." Oleander leans in, and I get a very close look at his mask. I can also smell some subtle perfume off him, something warm and spicy. I'd say you don't look like a downer, but you could be the High Liege of the White Stag House, and I wouldn't be the wiser. What a coincidence! Oh, are you the High Liege? I'm not the High Liege of anything, as far as you know. But that's not very far. That gets a laugh out of him. He takes his arm off me and pulls back enough to offer me his hand. I'm Oleander. It's my food and music you've been enjoying. You're welcome. I can hear the smile in his voice. I take his hand and give it a firm shake. Thanks for not locking me out. I've enjoyed eating your food. He looks at me a little longer, waiting for something. When he doesn't seem to get it, he turns to the others in the circle. And this is why I keep the doors open. Who knows what kind of fun will wander in? There's appreciative nods. Like the acrobats the last time. Exactly. You don't get to see that every day. Well, you don't get to see them every day, poor bastard. He nods back at his conversation partner, and the rest of the group breaks out into chuckles. Meanwhile, you're just swimming in acrobats. Drowning in them, absolutely soaked with acrobats. I'd try to beat them off, but I suspect they'd like that. Well, he sounds so smug, even though it's completely ridiculous. It's an absurd game he's playing that everyone here is enjoying. Then again, I can't say I dislike it either. But, and this is something I never say, leaving aside the acrobats for the moment. How is the stone shoving business these days? Oh, you know, digging out tunnels, drilling in supports. No excitement to be found. Not as such. No pits opening under the workers nowadays. Don't hold out on me, mate. Oleander's arm goes around the woman's shoulders. I bet you've dug up plenty of dirt worth sharing. You wouldn't like the dirt I'm getting. Too normal. Well, that's just boring. I need some entertainment. If you're not going to amuse me, what's the point of you? Okay, so this might have some bearing on the ending. I think these create affection points with him. So, obviously I've saved. What I will do is probably get the endings without the affection points first, because I'm going for the bad and neutral endings first, and then of course the good ending last. You know, to keep you on your toes. Keep quiet. I think that won't earn me any affection points. I bite my tongue. Oleander's got plenty of charm, and I know I'd enjoyed chatting with him, but he's dominating the space right now, and for all I know, he might not like sharing the limelight. Oleander leads us on a thrilling riddle he's just heard, to compensate for the lack of amusement. Then there's a conversation about a unique business deal going through. Once, I catch Oleander looking at me, but only once in a conversation that must easily span an hour or more, and half a dozen topics. Finally, he seems to tire of the attention. Well, I think I deserve a little wine for being such a good host. He steps back away from the crowd. I can bring you some. No need, no need. I ought to stretch my legs and see the others too. He walks away, going around the group and passing behind me. Then I feel a hand on my shoulder, then an arm along the top of my back, then a chin on my shoulder. Oh wow, he is just flirting very brazenly. Don't think I didn't see you withholding your name, minx. You want my attention that badly? Ask the nice lady with the sword for vindication. Then he's gone before I can answer. Okay. That was strange. The crowd lingers, but some of the people are dispersing. Well, I've answered my question. Oleander's quite the entertaining person. Which leaves a slightly more important question. Do I even want his attention? I mean, maybe just a little. Someone with that much wealth and power could access Lunar Ichor. He could be my way forward. But someone with that much wealth and power could also do whatever he wanted to me, with no consequences. And there's the rub. Yep. My stomach churns. My curiosity is pulling me one way and my caution another way. I'll just go meet Oleander, since I'm trying to go down his route anyways. No one believed I would survive a day down here, and I did. Hell, we survived like, what, a week? I'll survive Oleander too. I find the woman with the sword easily enough. In a packed hall, she is still given plenty of space. I'm looking for vindication. You've come to the right place. She opens a door for me, stepping back just enough to let me slip inside. She closes the door behind her. There's a lantern on the table, burning as dimly as it's possible to be without going out completely. The chairs look plush. Something I can confirm when I take a seat. It takes some time for Oleander to show up. In the little room, barely bigger than a closet, and with nothing to pass the time, I can't tell how long I've been there. I practically jump in my seat when the door swings open. Well, you're here. Excellent. Apologies for the wait. I'm a man in high demand these days. Took a while to shake off my admirers. Wow, I struggle with that word even though I know how to pronounce it. I apologize if the way I delivered that line sounded extra weird. I suppose I should thank you for your time. You're welcome. No, I only supposed I should thank you. I hadn't yet. But in supposing it out loud, you made your intentions clear to me, and thus, you're very welcome. He slides into the seat opposite mine, setting a wine glass down in front of himself. Wine? No more for me, thanks. I've got plenty. Still playing games, sure. Now, the first order of business. What's your name? If I tell you now, you'll have no reason to stay. Nonsense. You and I both know you have my attention. I'll hear you out. But I don't make deals with people hiding their names. Even though I could very well invent a name on the spot, just for you. Just for me. I'm touched you would do such a thing. He pauses for a second, but starts talking again before I can get a word out. It's the principle of the thing, you see. Someone once called themselves No One, and I didn't spot the problems in time. They betrayed your trust, and then you were forced to say, no one wronged me. Wow, for a guy with a mask covering his face, that's actually like an emotional kind of movement. Close enough. Give me a false name for that false face of yours. He holds out his hand. I'm cryptid. I take his hand and shake it once, firmly. Then I tuck my hand back under my cloak. No need to give him more body language to read. A pleasure to meet you. Most people attempt to get my attention through flash and noise. Anyone willing to be mysterious is worth a little investigating. You caught my eye from across the room. A little flattery can't hurt. Oh, you mean you saw me and decided that you want to know more about a man of such obvious wealth and charm? Caught my eye might be a misstatement. I heard the laughter and had to know the reason. Well, now you know who I am. Or at least, the important things. What do you want? It's the first thing from his mouth that doesn't sound like a part of his game. This is the test, then. Lunar Ichor. I can almost hear him testing the odds in his head, deciding whether or not to believe me. Many people want Lunar Ichor. Of course they do, but I need it. That is already more information than I want to give, and it seems like Oleander can tell. Did I pass the test? Well, that sounds terribly serious. He's saying it with a smile so big I can hear it. Let me guess, cryptid. You've been around and no one selling the stuff. Worse than that, you're never going to be able to afford what it costs anyway. Then you find a fancy party with a host who's obviously got coin, And you think to yourself that he might be your ticket to rare and valuable objects. I do have to wonder what your plan for bringing Ichor out of me would be. I'll do work. Any kind of work. Any kind of work. Don't make promises you don't intend to keep. The threat is obvious, but I've already made my choice. Anything. As long as I'm alive at the end, I don't care. Oleander sucks in a breath through his teeth. Don't say that now. Sometimes being alive is the worst thing that can happen to you. I stand by what I said. There's another pause. I let it hang there. I'm not about to change what I've said, no matter what Oleander suggests. Well then, Cryptid, I have some interesting news for you. I take it you don't know my career. Either you've earned your wealth or you were born into it. I earned it, as much as you might doubt me. I call myself a lot of things depending on who is listening, but I think the most apt term for someone like me is smuggler. I don't go between the topside and marketplace as much anymore, but there isn't that much that enters or leaves the mountains without me knowing. Then you would... I am probably your best hope for finding Lunar Ichor here. And it just so happens that I am currently looking for a new assistant. So I think only one of these answers gives him the affection points and the other two wouldn't. I think I will get all of these regardless in succession. No. No, I don't think so. Thank you for the offer. No, that's not something I hear very often. And what are you going to do about it? I'm not ready to jump into the lion's maw yet. You're dangerous, even if you're doing your best to make it seem like you just play games. You're not wrong, you know. I am a very dangerous man when I want to be. The hair on the back of my neck stands on end. I feel my fight or flight impulse. Don't panic, Cryptid. I'm not about to hurt you for a little rejection. But I don't think you're going to find anyone down here who can get Lunar Ichor without presenting you with some kind of danger. I stand up, reaching for the door with one hand while keeping my eyes on Oleander. I'll be the judge of that. Goodbye. I throw the door open and breathe. The parlor is still stuffy and thick with the breaths of every partygoer, but it's better than being locked in a closet. I'm going to leave, my feet carrying me away without conscious thought. Then I spot him, still sitting there, a handsome young man looking bright and beautiful in the darkness. My panic eases, slowly. It's still worth my time to approach him. If he's close to Oleander, he'll probably boast about it, and I can just leave. But I can't let this opportunity go. I'm gonna go back and say the other things to Oleander and keep going down his route. But that was fun. Alright. This is tough. Hire me. Then hire me. It's out of my mouth before I can stop myself. Then you're hired. It's that easy? Oh, there's one more thing. Here's the catch. All of my assistants go by Virgil while on the job. You'll have to agree to that. Oh, is that all? I know, it's just one more name to put on the pile. You're clearly someone who uses a fake name with everyone, but I hope you can endure it. I think I can tolerate it for now. Good. He reaches out to me once again, so I respond with yet another handshake. Before I can pull my hand away, however, he grips it a bit more firmly. I look forward to seeing how much fun we can have together. Then he lets go of my hand. There's a second of silence, but Oleander is quick to fill it with a time and place to meet up tomorrow, as well as more mundane details about the work. If he's being honest about everything, the pay will even be decent. The clock rings twice. I have no remaining frame of reference to know if it's indicating the middle of the night, the early afternoon, or some mysterious third alternative. What I do know is that I'm in the right place at the right time, 2 o'clock at the Candle Park. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just go down and run the whole interactions through with getting the affection points after we get all the other endings. So you know how a fully properly done route is done, I guess? There is a guide, so, you know, obviously I'm going to be following that for the affection points. I don't know if the answer I gave gives him affection points or not, but I know that you only need 5, so. Oh my god, I mispronounced the name because I'm f***ing dyslexic. Vigil, pleased to see you here. You say that like you're surprised to see me. I thought you might just take my secrets and run. I have learned a great deal about Oleander's business. Above ground, I would call him a merchant. He sells goods from the underground and purchases goods from the above ground. He connects buyers and sellers. It's the kind of goods he's trading that mark him as unusual. No live humans, thankfully, but I saw a box of teeth that looked nauseatingly familiar among the goods he was sending out. Then there were the magical goods, and the allegedly magical goods. I guess this means you've been ensnared by my good looks and winning personality. There's no way I've learned all your secrets yet. Oh, is that all you want from me? Well, he is a little charming, so, well, you're a little charming. Fine, you've got me. You're a fount of charisma, the likes of which I've never seen. Truly the most incredible man I've ever met. Is that compliments enough for you, sir? Oleander preens like a damn bird. I'm always ready for more if you have it, cryptid. I think I've fed your ego enough. My ego is fat and happy as a spoiled dog, thanks to you. I love this man. He is fantastic. What an image. Now, we have some work to do. He sweeps his jacket around and turns into the motion, making his way to a sweetly decorated tea shop. I keep in step, just slightly behind him. The first word that comes to mind when I step inside is frou-frou. The decor isn't garish, but it is very bright and intricate. The lamps are blazing brightly compared to everywhere I've been. The walls are practically lined with paper and fabric flowers, bursting forth in fragrant, frothy bouquets. Someone has lit incense or sprayed perfume in the air. Forgive me for saying so, but this doesn't look like your kind of place. When Oleander told me we would be going to a tea shop, I imagined a moody, smoke-filled back room, Perhaps that's a failure of my own imagination. Damn, we get to see him from all angles? Nice. Oh no, this is definitely not my kind of place. Or not. We are here because of our next potential client. We navigate the tightly packed tables and chairs and stop at one table with a man sitting at it. The man is plain, even scruffy. He's slouching so deeply and crossed his arms so tightly, it's hard to tell if he's extraordinarily short or trying to look small. Pleasure to see you again, Griff. Oleander takes a seat. I follow suit. Well, he has a way with language, doesn't he? Why in the sugar-dusted fuck are we meeting here? Because I knew you'd say something excellent like sugar-dusted fuck about it. Oleander sounds entirely too pleased with himself. And who's this? He jerks his chin in my direction. This is Vigil. Rude. Kick him under the table. I don't think either of these have anything to do with affection points or the ending, so I am just gonna kick him under the table and then I'm gonna see what Leave It Be does. It's not an easy angle, but I'm able to give Oleander a swift kick to the shin. He hardly flinches. I wasn't aiming to hurt him, to be fair, but does glance over at me. Message sent. Alright, let me go back and get the other one. Leave it be. Whatever. I can let Oleander be rude, as long as he pays me to put up with it. Another one. What happened to the last one? He found himself a more satisfying career elsewhere. Good for him. This new Vigil is quite good, though. Picks things up easily. He's right here, too, and very capable of speaking for himself. The last Vigil never talked. Glad you've got a bit more guts. Maybe he just couldn't get a word in edgewise with this man as a boss. Griff chuckles. It's not a contest, but I do feel like I'm winning. A member of the waitstaff comes by asking for our orders. Oleander orders tea. Griff orders what sounds like a very expensive cake. I don't think this at all has any bearing on the ending as well, but I'll get all of these, so order. I'll start with nothing. Yeah, I'll start with nothing. I pass on ordering anything. I doubt Oleander's going to cover the cost of my meal, and there's nothing catching my eye. If you're quite finished slandering me, I do have a business proposition for you. So I assume that's where the dialogue is going to go, so let me go back and get the other two. Order sweets. I ask the waitstaff for a recommendation for something light. They advise me to order a slice of cake that should be lighter than air and a cup of tea to go alongside it, so I do. And let's see what happens when we order just tea. I ask the waitstaff for a recommendation and order a pot of that. Something full of flower petals and honey from the sound of it. If you're quite finished slandering me, I do have a business proposition for you. When don't you? Oleander brushes right past that comment. I've recently received some information from a very trusted source about a witch ring that is currently available. I don't think Oleander's route is going to need to be age restricted, so I am going to censor a little bit of the language here. I've said the F word a few times. F me. A witch ring? Actually? So I've been led to believe it's currently in the hands of our beloved auctioneer. No. No freaking way. Not the auction. The auctioneer. She is currently living in an apartment above the Pearl Choker. I've been to that apartment once. It's well protected, but it's certainly not at the same level as the auction house. It's not watertight or mouse-proof. Okay, I'm listening. I thought you might. Vigil, if you would. Oleander holds out a hand. I dig through my pocket and hand over an egg-shaped gold capsule. I paid a very pretty penny for this information, so I expect you not to wreck what has been a very fruitful relationship. You don't need to put on a scary mask for this, man. You know I'm not about to screw you over. If you didn't kill me, here would. Oleander hands over the capsule. Griff cracks it open and lets the 2 golden halves fall onto the table. He unfolds the papers that were packed inside the egg and starts reading, hunching himself over the pages to protect them from prying eyes. I sweep the 2 egg halves across the table toward me and pocket them just as our orders arrive. Without looking, Griff begins devouring his cake as he keeps reading. Why put the papers in an egg if I'm just going to be giving him the papers and keeping the egg? A mystery for another time. Maybe we can sell it. Who knows? What do you think? I think you gotta stop rushing me. Not all of us read as fast as you. You're already getting into the detailed pages. What do you think about the broad strokes? I think... Griff closes his fist around the papers, turning them into a crumpled tube. That I gotta talk to Cure about this. It's a good job. We could do it if we were at full capacity. And you're not? Gups got hurt during a freelance gig. Or Gups. I know that tone of voice. Oleander does not know who or what a Gups is, but he needs to sound sympathetic and keep the conversation going. Well, you know where to send word if you take the job or drop it. I'll be down in your neighborhood with supplies soon enough. Looking forward to it. In the meantime, send Kier my love. Griff's tone is one of irritation. Don't make me say that. Kier hates hearing that. Exactly why I'm saying it. You're the worst. I am a delight that you can never get enough of. I love this man. He is sassy. Your money is a delight, that's for sure. Charming as ever, Griff. Griff stands up and leaves without so much as a farewell. Oleander and I are left sitting at the table with Griff's empty plate. So, that was Griff. He's a funny one, isn't he? That's one way to say it. I start in on my tea. Oleander pours himself a cup of tea. And who's Kier? An old friend. I think that's what he'd say. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Well, that's something to look into later. And you sent him your love because? You heard Griff. Kier will find it deeply annoying, and I think that's amusing. For someone so enamored with their own wit and charm, you sure are dedicated to be an absolute pest about it. The word for me you're looking for is debonair. The word I'm looking for is gadfly. You know, I've heard people call me that before, but it sounds so much more interesting coming from you. But enough about me. That's a rare sentence. I have a very nice pot of tea that needs to be drunk. He unlatches his mask with a slow deliberateness that makes it look like he's putting on a show. He then raises his teacup and takes a slow sip. He lets out a satisfied moan and chuckles. Excellent stuff. I suppose a shop as dedicated to the botanical arts as this one would have some skill at making tea. Shame we didn't get to see what he looks like with his mask unhinged, but that's okay. I wonder if they'd tell me their source. It's an idle wondering, but it makes me smirk a little. Oleander seemed to get drawn back into work without much prompting. And how is your tea, Cryptid? Delicious. Thank you for asking. And are you going to share? It sounds like you want me to share? Yes, but that isn't what I asked. Now is it? Do I really want to be this mean? I will share afterwards. Don't share. I don't think I will share. This tea is excellent, and I want it all to myself. Truly, your selfishness and cruelty knows no bounds. I'm afraid you'll just have to be mad about that. Oleander doesn't look even the slightly bit bothered. He returns to his tea with gusto. Alright, I think this is gonna be where the dialogue goes forward, so let's go back and share with him. Share. Are you going to share? Well, that depends on what course of action you take. You're never not a businessman, are you? Oh, trade doesn't occupy my whole life, but I do find it to be better when a mutually pleasurable option is available. The hint of flirtation is getting under my skin. Without saying a word, I hold up my teacup. Oleander cups his hands around mine and leans in to drink from the cup, not letting me go as he does. Then he pulls back, and I see the smirk this time as he says, "Exquisite." I'm keenly aware that I'm being teased. Damn this man. He lifts his own teacup and holds it out for me. Your turn. Leander, stop. Let's not first, and then we'll take a drink in a second. No, thank you. It's good. I'm happy with what I have. He doesn't look especially bothered by my rejection. Alright. Take a drink. I have to put my hands around Oleander's to guide the cup to my mouth. Oh, he put us in that position. The tea is ginger hot and sharply bitter. It's a complex flavor, and I let it sit on my tongue for a while. Good, isn't it? It's a powerful taste. When we're done eating, we pay and leave the little tea house. Oleander promises to forward a list of things I will need to do in the next few days. Chores, from the sound of it. A letter arrived for you. Bruna sets down my bowl of porridge as well as a letter and leaves. The letter itself has been scented with some kind of perfume, thick enough to be able to smell through my mask. Cryptid, a client of mine, is hosting an impromptu little party, and I have been told that I may bring whoever is the current vigil along. I suppose I wasn't doing anything else today. Searching the stalls and trying to pull rumors from shopkeepers is important work, but sometimes I long for a break from it. I'm really starting to appreciate Oleander's intrusions into my otherwise monotonous schedule. Here's your checklist to accomplish before the clock strikes 7 tonight. The rest of the letter is a list of locations and what I am to do at each, and where we'll be meeting tonight. Clothing rental, a wine shop, and some place called Satine where I'm supposed to pick something nice. The makings of a very exciting party from the sounds of it. It makes my very ordinary porridge feel rather dull in comparison. Still, I'm not going to let my breakfast go to waste. Checking Oleander's directions against my own mental map, the shops are laid out so there's no efficient way to visit them all. I'm free to take them in any order I please. Where do I want to go first? Okay, so I think we come across some endings at the wine shop. So what I'm going to do first is clothing rental. The shop I reach when I follow the written directions is a little hole-in-the-wall place. Literally, the shop door sits in what is otherwise the cavern's bare rock face. Entering, I am met with a dizzying array of colors, formal wear of every kind being shown on racks and on the walls. Someone is also playing a mandolin quite badly. Oleander's letter was quite vague on what I was supposed to do here, though the implication is obvious. Hello? The mandolin playing stops, and a head pops out from between two of the clothing racks. Oh shit, sorry, hello. They stumble out from between the racks. My best guess is that they're a teenager who has not gotten used to their growth spurt yet, based on their clumsiness and gangly height. Welcome to the dress cave. Shit. Sorry, the silk web. Without thinking, I raise my hand to hide my face, obscuring a smile that they wouldn't be able to see regardless. The gesture honestly just makes what I'm thinking even more obvious. I was told by my employer that I should come here to rent some formal wear for a party this evening. Your employer? I'm Vigil, if that helps. There's a beat of silence, and then... Oh, now I know what the boss meant. This is easy. Mr. Absinthe has a tab with us. So you just pick out what you want and he'll pay for it later. We don't really have time to tailor it for tonight, but we have a lot of clothes, so it should be easy to find something that'll fit close enough. So I'm not picking up something for him, I'm getting something for myself. Is this really necessary? I'm not taking off my cloak for the party, so any beautiful clothes would be wasted on me. The shopkeeper, or maybe they're an assistant, shuffles nervously. If you don't mind me saying, you should probably get something nice to wear. I'm certain you mean well. But you do have a good reason to want me or my employer spending here. Oh, it's not that. It's not money. It's just... Since you're not pinning your cloak closed, I can see bits of what you're wearing underneath when you move. They look like good, sturdy clothes, but Oleander wants me to be wearing something frivolous. Because that's a sign he has money to spend on clothes just for making his assistant look pretty. I'm part of the show now, so I should dress the part. Exactly. And the money doesn't hurt. Yeah. Very well, I'm convinced. How does anyone find things in this dress cave? If you like, you can tell me what style you like and your approximate measurements. And I'll pick out some pieces from the back. There's a lot in the back. All right. It is between androgynous and masculine. Well, let's go with masculine. Okay, I'll pull out a few styles for you. The shopkeeper vanishes into the back of the shop, presumably a cavern claimed by the shop to store inventory. They come back with a sampling of clothes. Suit jackets with trousers or skirts, bejeweled and embroidered robes, even a delicate bodysuit that feels a little too daring. Then again, I will be wearing a cloak the whole time. We whittle down the options, with the shopkeeper occasionally dropping back into the cave to find something closer to my size. By the way, I liked that even though I chose the masculine option, the shopkeeper still brought me skirts. It is nice that there is no picking and choosing of, oh, masculine's pants, feminine is skirts, because, you know, that's not necessarily true. In the end, I'm left with two options that suit my tastes, the occasion, and fit well enough. An exquisite all-black three-piece suit, or a delicately embroidered and airy blood-red shirt paired with black trousers. Ooh. A fancy outfit is meant to send a message, isn't it? So the last thing to choose is what message I want to send. Even with a cloak on, the red will catch people's eyes. The black under the cloak can trick people's eyes instead, if the lighting's right. It'll look like you're a void. And it would match your mask. Catching the eye or creating a mystery. What do I want? What does Oleander want? Well, he did mention that he liked the mystery. So let's take the black. The black one. Oleander's the one catching eyes. My job as an assistant is to be in the background, hopefully invisible. And if no one looks at me, that means they won't notice I'm watching them. Thanks for your help. I don't think I could have braved the dress cave alone. Everything about the shopkeeper's hunched posture and looking deliberately to the side screams embarrassment. Glad I could help. I'm out of the shop soon enough with my rented clothes wrapped up in a parcel. It feels criminal to leave the shop without paying, but I will have to return my find in one piece. It isn't mine to spoil. Well, that's a chore accomplished. What next? Sateen. Sateen is impossible to miss. The sign is large and freshly painted in bright colors that stand out in the darkness. It's also busy. I step inside and the noise does not diminish even the slightest bit. Sateen is huge and labyrinthine. There must be dozens of people wandering the maze of shelves. Oleander's instructions were to pick something nice. Something decorative to wear, a gift for whoever is hosting, something for Oleander. I suppose it's up to me. I square my shoulders and face the labyrinth. I can already feel the warm, stuffy air starting to gather under my cloak. I don't think I'm going to stay here for long. For a second, I attempt to look at everything on the tall stacks of shelves, packed tight with curios. But that's a fool's errand. There's no way to take in everything in this shop. I will have to fully surrender myself to the chaos. I start walking and stop fully on a whim. Sitting between a jar of preserved fruit and a stack of teacups, I glimpse a flash of white. There's a skull grinning at me. It is an animal skull of some sort. Something with a longish snout and sharp teeth. Whatever it wasn't big. Is this what I want? Let's keep going, although the skull sounds cool, but I don't know what kind of message it's going to send. No. The grinning memento mori is a little unsettling. Hardly the worst I've seen in the marketplace. But that doesn't mean I need to buy a skull either. Unsatisfied, I continue, turning at a crossroad of shelves. There's a selection of books on one shelf that do have an obvious theme. Texts about the solar and lunar gods. Most of them have languages on the spine I don't know, but one stands out as familiar. Flipping through it, it seems to be a record of beliefs for an obscure branch of the lunar god's cult. It's in rough condition, but the whole thing seems to be readable. He doesn't really seem like a man interested in religion, so no. I return the book to the shelf. It isn't what I want right now. One more try. If I fail to find anything of interest, I will just meet Oleander empty-handed. There's a selection of necklaces hanging from a spike that seems to have been deliberately driven into the wall. Most of the necklaces are just pretty trinkets, but one is different. It's tarnished and chipped, but I recognize the medallion as an icon of a solar god's priest. How did this get here? Oh, I think actually he would find this very interesting. So yes, I take my find to the crowded payment desk. When it's my turn, I have to speak quite loudly to be heard. Does the name Oleander mean anything to you? It does. They look at my find, placed on the counter. Are you sure you want to use his favor for that? I am. I have no idea what his favor is worth, but I can think of worse things to spend it on. The shopkeeper shrugs but hands me a little tag. I take my new trinket and head to the door. I'm let out of the shop only when I show a black cloaked figure the tag. Nice cloak. Likewise. And that is the end of my little adventure at Satine. The wine shop it is. The wine shop doesn't have a name that I can see, and when I go inside, there's little more than a room to stand in. This is not a normal wine shop. I shouldn't be surprised, given the instructions Oleander wrote for retrieving the wine included, be polite. They also included, don't spoil the surprise. Surprise? Hello? The silence makes the hair on the back of my arm stand on end. But I refuse to be cowed by an empty room of all things. You're supposed to ring the bell at the door. I almost jump. I turn to the left and see a shopkeeper, wearing a heavily starched dress and a mask that clings tight to her face, emerge from a hidden door. Be polite. Sorry, I didn't think to look there. You some kind of pheasant just strutting into any door that pleases you. What? I'm sorry? Did you just come in off the street, you stupid thing? I curl my toes tightly in my shoes. Polite. I was sent here by my employer. He didn't write about a bell in his note either. Employer. Oh no, you're not one of Absinthe's vigil things, are you? I am. Sorry to disappoint you. Have we met before? I'd remember you if that were the case. I see too many pheasants. I don't try to tell them apart. I would be happy to get out of your way, except I don't think Oleander would be happy if I did that without picking up the wine he ordered first. Oh, is he Oleander now? It seems he still doesn't know how to pick names. I take it my employer hasn't always called himself Oleander. No, he rather fancies himself Sly, and keeps changing his name, as if changing his name will hide who he is, when he insists on always wearing that ridiculous coat. Pleasant you may be, but at least you're the sensible sort that keeps your looks plain. Polite. Thank you. Wait here and I'll bring you Oleander's wine. She's gone for a little while, and when she returns, she is carrying 2 bottles of wine. They are unlabeled and, as far as I can tell, identical. Pick your poison. I don't know. Are they both poison? Left? Good. The shopkeeper takes both bottles and disappears again. I've given up trying to understand what is happening here. She comes back with a labeled bottle and a wine glass, with a dram of wine in the glass. Would you like a taste? Sure. Why not? I take the glass from the shopkeeper and swirl it, watching the legs trickle down. I pull my mask away from my face just enough to take in a deep breath and catch the wine's smell. Then, a little clumsily, I remove the bottom plate of my mask and take a sip of the wine. It's obviously of a very high quality, but there's a taste to it I cannot place. Something sharp and strange and unrecognizable. I finish off the glass, letting the wine sit on my tongue. Oh no, she freaking poisoned me. Is it to your liking, stupid pheasant? There's something about the shopkeeper's words. It's very good. Like nothing I've ever tasted. What's in it? It's a fine but ordinary wine, but blended with additional ingredients. That would be the flavor I've never had before. The shopkeeper talks for a few minutes about the process, an exotic seed pod that is mashed and boiled and strained and treated with all kinds of chemicals until it produces a rare and very desirable elixir. An elixir that you now have in your veins. Something suddenly takes my lungs into its fists. It squeezes. My hands go to my chest, and then my throat. There's no obstruction. There's nothing preventing air from reaching my lungs. But there's rejecting my lungs. No matter how hard I fight, I cannot take in enough breath. I'm hit with dizziness from the lack of breath or another cause. I try to look up at the shopkeeper, but my vision is getting soft, and grayness is crawling in from the periphery. I raise my hand, and it shakes so violently that the wine glass falls from my grasp. Through deep water, I hear the shopkeeper swear, "Idiot! That was a good glass!" The gray completely overtakes my sight. I feel my whole body shaking violently. My muscles will ache in the morning from that, are we sure? Just die quickly so I can put you away. I stop hearing anything else. My heart pounds hard in my chest once, then twice, then not again. Bad end. Don't spoil the surprise. Oh, that was good. I knew that there was poison in this route, but still, I love that. All right, this time, we're not going to test the wine because we know what'll happen, and we don't want to die. No, thank you. Oleander's instructions told me not to spoil the surprise, and this is probably what he meant by that. I take my chosen bottle and slip it into my bag. It's not convenient by any stretch, but it'll do. I would like you to leave now. I can do that. The shopkeeper doesn't want me to linger, and I don't want to linger, so I don't. I can cross the wine shop, if that's what it was, off the list and get on with my day. I follow Oleander's final direction to a squat apartment building. I have to climb 2 flights of creaky stairs to find the room indicated on the letter. I knock. Oleander? The door is unlocked, darling. It takes a little maneuvering to twist the doorknob when I am carrying several parcels, but I get it done. The room I enter is heavily perfumed, with elegant lamps on every flat surface, and an abundance of colorful fabric draped from the ceiling. Well, he looks comfortable. Welcome to my parlor. Oleander is lounging in a well-loved armchair, his head tipped back. He must only see a sliver of me through the eye holes of his mask. I didn't realize that as an assistant, I would be doing your shopping. Isn't that what assistants do, though? This is a shopping trip for your benefit. He stands up. Well, what kind of treasures did you find? I hand him the wine bottle. Good job not spoiling the surprise. Yes, I learned from dying the first time. The shopkeeper called me a pheasant. Don't mind her. That's just her way. We parted on good terms, I think. Did we? I'm not sure about that, but sure. Oh. She was happy to be rid of me, and I was happy to leave. A happy arrangement for both of you, then. What else did you find? You went to Satine like I told you? I did. Good vigil. I roll my eyes, but bring out my discovery. A bold choice to get an icon of the solar god down here. But I do like to see a bit of boldness in my assistants. He dropped his voice low, and he's smiling. I can hear it. Is he flirting? Anyways, you haven't neglected to rent clothes, have you? I went to the dress cave. Ah, then you met poor Bobbin. He's some kind of cousin to the owner. That's the reason he works there. He's not well suited to the job. I don't think that this is going to have any bearing on the ending, so I'll get both of these. He was funny. Well, I thought he was funny. Oh, I don't disagree. He's very funny. Unfortunately, he's not trying to be. I doubt he'll be in the merchant business for much longer. Alright, let me go back and get the other choice. He was doing his best. He was doing his best to help me. I don't doubt that. That's rather the problem, if that's his best. I doubt he'll be in the merchant business for much longer. I bring out my parcel, but I don't open it. Do I get to see it? Once I'm wearing it, maybe. If you're going to keep me in suspense like this, I suspect it will be very good. If you get your hopes up too high, I'll never meet your expectations. I will set my hopes as high as I please. If you want to satisfy me, you'll simply have to work for it. With that, he starts in on party preparations. He's going in his usual outfit. He has a brand he needs to maintain. This man is pure drama, and I am living for it. He handles the wine while I go to a small side room to get dressed. I re-enter the parlor with my cloak wrapped tight around me. Ah, Cryptid, do I finally get to see what outfit you've chosen? Now, this probably does have to do with the affection points. Like I said, I'm gonna go back for getting as many of them as possible, so I'll just get whichever right now. And then whatever choices I don't make, I will go back and get, and you will get to see the result. Show him. I open up my cloak, giving Oleander a good look at my outfit. He gives me an approving nod. Wearing black under your cloak, you're going to blend into the shadows. If I'm hiding in the shadows, I'll be able to watch without being observed. And you'll be able to listen into plenty of conversations. At any rate, you've chosen something stunning. You'll have to chase off work offers with a stick. I wasn't planning on taking a different job. Your rate is quite good. Good. Stick with that. And, as an incentive, he steps to the side and picks up a parcel off the chair. A gift. This one you can keep. I open the parcel, and out spills a length of slate gray fabric, thick and smooth. In the fabric there's a shimmering pattern. I thought you might still wear your cloak over your very fine outfit. If you must, at least wear something worthy of the event and your own charms. Something clatters to the floor. A heavy silver brooch has fallen out of the folds of the fabric. You're not going to ask this back from me? It would hardly be a gift if that was the case. And I don't owe you money for this? It's a gift, Cryptid, not a debt. It's yours. Thank you. And anyways, it came to me at no great cost. A lovely young thing forgot it here several months back. I just found a brooch to finish the outfit. I roll my eyes. Leftovers from a previous conquest. Thanks. It's clean, and it's yours now, so stop grousing and get changed. I do. Then we are off to the party. The party is being hosted in a mansion, of course. There is no formal government within the underground, but there are the richest and most powerful families in it, the lords of the marketplace. We go beyond the ruby walls to the center of one of the richest neighborhoods. The mansion is whitewashed and light floods from the open doors and windows. There's several stories to it, but there's a strangeness to the architecture. It feels put together from disparate pieces, as though the mansion was expanded several times and each was designed by a different hand. Well, it's nice to see that the good Lord Valentine is continuing his explorations into the world of architecture. This is new? Oh, I love our new cloak and the brooch. We look fancy. The wing we're entering was not here the last time I visited, though in fairness that was in another life. We pass through a gate and are met by several attendants. Here's my invitation, and this is my +1, Vigil. Welcome, sir. We pass into the mansion. The main room is open and tall, at least 2 stories. There are balconies overlooking the main ballroom floor, and I can see some heads turn our way as we enter. A member of the staff approaches, and Oleander is quick to hand over the bottle of wine. Send this to Clarity. Then he directs his attention my way. Tell me honestly now, what's your drinking tolerance? Ooh. I don't know if this one has anything to do with the affection points either, so I will get all of these. I think I'll end on I have some tolerance because that's the real truth, but I'll start with I don't drink much, then that one, yeah, you know. I don't drink much. Then now is not the time to start. Keep yourself sober. I wasn't planning on getting drunk. Let me be clearer. The number of drinks it is acceptable for you to have tonight is none. Is that an order, sir? Sass all you like, but this is work for you and I. Just because it's happening while others play doesn't mean we get to fool around the same way. We stop loitering at the door. Oleander is quick to spot someone. Alright, let me go back. I can hold my own. Well, that's good to hear. Some folks like to drink together as a social activity. It's always nice to partake with others. That said, keep it to 1 or 2 drinks tonight. I need you to keep your head on your shoulders. Is that an order, sir? I have some tolerance. The truth. Although maybe it's not the truth anymore. I haven't had a drink in a while. Well, that's good to hear. Alright. That said, keep it to 1 drink tonight. I need you to keep your head on your shoulders. Alrighty. We stop loitering at the door. Oleander is quick to spot someone. Is that my favorite bell ringer over there? Someone turns. Their mouth is uncovered, so I can see the transformation from confusion to happiness as it happens. Son of a bitch, it's Oleander! That's all it takes for significant attention to come our way. Oh, we missed you, darling. How has business been lately? How could you leave us for so long? He revels in it. He's in his element. I have been pining away for these parties since I've been gone. Unfortunately, there was a very good opportunity waiting for me in the dust chambers I couldn't resist. You went down into the dust chambers? And it makes for a very good story, but first. This is my newest vigil. I rather like him. He's quick. I bow my head to the other guests. They seem like the kind of people who want that. Pleased to meet you. Oh, I thought that was your shadow. Well, in a matter of speaking. I'm easy to miss when he's drawing everyone's attention. I'm rather fond of this vigil, new though he may be. The last vigil was skilled, but not much of a social being. Though I heard the last vigil found something very social to do for himself. Yes, he did. I was disappointed to learn he was leaving, but I can't fault him for his reasons. You, on the other hand. He turns to me. I expect you to stay by my side for a long time to come. No running off to get a job as a pleasure parlor bunny, you hear? Wouldn't dream of it. This one, I believe, does have to do with the affection stuff. From what I gather, he kind of likes a little bit of sass and answers that make him laugh, so I'm just gonna go with the regular, yes, sir. Whatever you say, sir. Oh, am I sir for tonight? I could call you something else. Oh, definitely not. Now that you've called me sir once, I expect to be called sir forever. Absolutely not. It's too late, Vigil. You've set my expectations and now you'll have to live up to them. Oh, frick. He found another one like him. You two are going to be unbearable. By the way, I actually really adore Oleander. Through this whole playthrough so far, I've been like, wow, this man is hilarious. He's a bit much, but I really like him. No, don't say that. You'll make poor Vigil feel terrible. If you're going to flirt with your assistant, I'm going to be feeling terrible. Spoil sport. Oh, very well. Vigil, go and enjoy yourself. Enjoy a nibble or two. If I need you, I'll track you down. All right. I'd frankly rather stay with Oleander, given that I'm his +1 and he's the only person I know here. But I am intrigued by what kind of food gets served at a party like this. The main character and I share this, the love of food. There are several tables laid out for guests, each one of them unique. I pick one at random and start putting little nibbles wrapped in thin, crackling layers of fried dough on a plate. There's also a member of the staff at one end of the table with a selection of bottles. Oh, you know what? I think the question for the low tolerance has to do with another ending, now that I'm thinking about it, because I think there's an ending that comes from getting too drunk. But let's get a drink. I ask for a glass of whatever the staff member would recommend, and I get a tall flute of something bubbly and pink. I did go back and say I have like no tolerance, so that I can get one of the endings easier, but still. It's not as sweet as I'd expected, but still bright and pleasant. I take a turn around the room, admiring the art on the walls and some of the prettier outfits on display. One of the great blessings about being masked is that no one can see me staring. I leave my plate of nibbles on a table I hope is for collection when I'm done with it. I stop my tour around the hall in a dark corner. There are a lot of dark corners in a place like this, of course, but this one is unoccupied. I can see a crowd of people where I believe Oleander was before, so presumably he's still there and amusing the group. There are a few well-dressed people getting significantly more attention from the staff than the other guests. These might be Lord Valentine or other so-called nobles of the marketplace. Mostly, my vision is occupied by the bright clothes most of the guests are wearing. This hall might even put the dress cave to shame. Seriously, this is... I hear someone to the left and behind me, which is a little strange, given my back is to a wall. I turn and cannot see anyone, of course. This is good. But the voices are still there. Curious, I lean just slightly towards the source and focus. If word about this is right, that motherlode of silver dust is real, then we gotta move fast. Oh hell. Silver dust is a drug, and not the domesticated sort like sweet grass or alcohol. Its trade in the underground is tied to dangerous folks. The only deal Oleander hadn't let me see in person involves silver dust changing hands. There is every chance that this is information that will be dangerous for me to hear. What happens if we ignore it? I'll go back and listen to it as well, but ignore it. I take a step away and focus on the music being played. Then, a large painting swings off the wall and towards me. I jump away. The painting swings closed and I see a woman in a billowing cloak with peaks of a close-fitting feathery gown underneath. Okay, there's a secret room behind the painting. After a second, she seems to notice me. Leave. I'm not keen to hang around. I turn away and walk into the crowd, determined to fade into anonymity. I didn't think I'd need to be on my toes this much for a party. I've gotten too used to the marketplace. I'm getting lazy. I decide to continue my trip around the hall before anyone else emerges from a painting. Care for a drink. Someone steps in front of me, holding out 2 wine glasses. What? Sorry, I couldn't help but notice you, and I thought this was the best way to break the ice. I am Adonis. Vigil. It's a pleasure to meet you, Vigil. Now, about that drink. This one I think also leads to an ending, so we'll take it. Thank you. I take the glass from him and take a sip. It's good. And what was that about catching your eye? I confess, I was seeing a peek of your outfit from under your cloak. That's a very clever way to make seeing your clothes feel a little more forbidden. Well, I dressed to impress specifically you, so I'm pleased it worked. If I had known you were dressing for me, I would have picked a more daring opening move. Next time. There's a promise in the words, next time. Well, don't let me stop you from your turn around the room, but if a conversation partner would be amenable to you. Oh, I could be convinced. I start walking, and Adonis keeps my pace, staying close enough to me to make it clear we're walking together without crowding me. If random strangers are going to approach me out of nowhere, I can only hope all of them have Adonis's social grace. I feel like something bad's going to happen. Well then, where are you taking us? I've found my greatest joy in the marketplace to be wandering around and seeing what happens. And so I intend to continue doing that. Just wandering. Surely a capable guide could give you a better time. Oh, I'm certain one could. My employer gave me directions to Satine, and that was a fascinating shop. Or labyrinth. Oh, good old Satine. What an institution. I'm certain you found something fascinating. Oh yes, I rather like my new necklace. However, I only found my employer in the first place through wandering through the marketplace. Getting closer, are we? Well, consider this. You have wandered over my path now. Perhaps I'm like your employer, someone who can provide another map to the market. I'm considering it. What sort of wonders would you guide me to? Adonis begins talking quickly and with enthusiasm for the food of the underground. Every kind of person lives under the mountain, and they have brought every type of cuisine with them. And then there are business agreements and marriages, and suddenly there are new combinations of flavors. I think it's fair to say that he likes his food. As we continue talking, he suddenly begins taking the lead in our stroll. He brings us down a hallway and away from the main room, and then through one of the many doors. Oh, thank God it's a library. I was so worried. I was like, where's he leading us? The light here is lower, and the sound is muted. It takes a moment, but I recognize the room as a library. The faint hissing of whispered voices confirms that we are not alone in here, even if I cannot see any other guests. Ah, this is nice. What is it nice for? Sneaking around, getting into mischief. Everyone loves a good library. This is a good library, I will confess. A soft moan tells me exactly what kind of mischief is happening just out of sight. Do you want to take a seat? Taking stock of myself, I do feel a little tired. Let's. There's an alcove with a padded bench, perfect for a few lazy hours of reading. I sink down until I'm on the bench, sagging a little. The tiredness is coming harder now. Have we been drugged? Of course we've been drugged. What was I thinking? Why? Are you all right? I feel a little woozy. Maybe that drink was stronger than I thought. Adonis sets a hand on my shoulder and the other on my knee. Just take a deep breath. I'm not about to stop breathing. My head feels unbelievably heavy. Adonis's hands gently guide me to lie on the bench. Oh, we're never gonna wake up here again. There you go. My eyes are shut. I didn't realize I'd closed them. Oh, frick. The realization hits me. Not now, please. Please. I can't even open my eyes. My symptoms aren't supposed to be this severe yet. A hand, Adonis's hand, smooths back my hood and runs over my head. That was surprisingly easy. I guess the old bastard is getting slow, not teaching his assistants properly anymore. What? I can barely think. My moment of panic was the only thing keeping me awake, with the shock fading. Well, he'll get what's coming to him. Another stroke. Sorry, Vigil. Not your fault that your employer is a motherfucker. Quiet. Bad end. Put in too much trust. Yup. Alright, I'm going to decline the drink. Also, there were credits with that, but I think I'll just have the credits roll after I completely finish Oleander's route. Same with everyone else's routes, of course. And yes, I am going to change the word every time I say it. Anyhow, decline. No wine for me, but thank you for the offer. Are you sure it's quite good? He sips from his own glass. I'm sure. Very well, then. He places the glass on the tray of a passing staff member and smirks. With his mouth exposed, I can see a handsome crookedness in his smile. And what was that about catching your eye? I confess, it was seeing a peek of your outfit from under your cloak. It's a very clever way to make seeing your clothes feel a little more forbidden. Well, I dressed to impress specifically you, so I'm pleased it worked. If I'd known you were dressing for me, I would have picked a more daring opening move. Next time. There's a promise in the words next time. Well, don't let me stop you from your turn around the room. But if a conversation partner would be amenable to you, I could be convinced. The light here is lower and the sound is muted. It takes a moment, but I recognize the room as a library. The faint hissing of whispered voices confirms that we are not alone here, even if I cannot see any other guests. This is nice. What is it nice for? Sneaking around, getting into mischief. Everyone loves a good library. This is a good library, I will confess. Do you want to take a seat? Let's. There's an alcove with a padded bench, perfect for a few lazy hours of reading. When we settle there and he leans in, I can clearly see the fine detailing on his mask. Up close, I can finally see that his mask is gilded, too. So, Vigil, is that what I should call you? It's who I am for the moment. For the moment. I'm allowed days off, too. And who are you on those days off? Someone else. Sorry, man, I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. You drugged me. He chuckles. Message received. I won't ask anymore. But I will ask. What does this Vigil do on his days off? Tidying, mostly. Really? You should see the state of my room. I have my necklace to add to the piles. He laughs, leaning in and bumping me. He rests a hand on my back, and the hand stays even as he pulls back. I'd like that. To see a messy room? The hand slides up a little. He's being very familiar. To see your messy room. It's important to be specific about these things. I think when I go down for the good ending in Oleander's route. I'll tell this bozo to stop touching, but I'll let him touch for now. I think it's all going to be fairly tame, I assume. So let him touch. I don't say a word about the contact. That seems to embolden him. His hand slips along my cloak until he's got his whole arm around me. Tell you what, Vigil, why don't you show me that room of yours? Show me your new necklace. I'd like to get to know you better after all. His proposition might have been subtle, if not for the tone of his voice. He's letting every word rumble into his chest. He's bold. I'll give him that. Both of these are good, so I'll get both of them. I'm working right now. As interesting as that sounds, right now, I'm working. This is working. So says my employer. What a curious person they must be. Curious is one word for him. Well, I suppose I shall have to put off seeing your necklace for another day. Until then, however. He stands up, then he takes a little card from inside his jacket and hands it to me. Okay, let me go back and get the other answer. I'm trying to judge where the dialogue might progress, so hopefully I got that right. I'd rather not. I'm flattered you'd be interested in my room, but I'm not giving tours at the moment. Not even private ones for interested parties. No, I should think not. He does seem to understand me. Then I shall withdraw my interest for now, but if that should change. He stands up, then he takes a little card from inside his jacket and hands it to me. In case you decide to get in touch. It's a hand-printed card with his name and an address on it. Is there a secret password? He smirks wide and leans in. He whispers something remarkably filthy in my ear. Does that suffice? I'm still attempting to gather my thoughts. It's certainly unique. I'm afraid I must leave you now, but don't forget that address, that password, and you'll have my full attention. He leaves. Well, that was something. For now, we're going to say it was flattering. It wasn't. It was unsettling, but for now, his attention is flattering. In the privacy of my own mind, I can admit to myself that it's gratifying to be the subject of someone else's interest. It's inevitable that I would end up in Oleander's orbit again. Even if he wasn't my employer, he somehow makes himself the center of the party, no matter where he is. Even when he's alone, as he is now, I'm able to smoothly fall into set behind him as he moves. Vigil, welcome back. Good to see you haven't gotten into trouble. Now, don't pretend to be my minder now. I'd be much more concerned about you causing trouble. I've been having some adventures. Oh, enlighten me then. The card I received from Adonis sits heavy in my pocket. I don't know. Keep it secret? I doubt Adonis would want me to bring Oleander into things. He didn't approach me for business reasons, after all. And, frankly, if I have someone interested in me, then that's none of Oleander's business. Actually, never mind. You tease. Now, are you going to ask me what I've been up to? Have you been flirting and deal-making and putting yourself at the heart of the party? However did you guess? You are, if you'll forgive me saying, sir, A bit predictable. He chuckles, the sound coming from deep in his chest. He leans in close, his mask brushing with the hood of my cloak. Then he rumbles. Just because you haven't seen them yet doesn't mean I'm not full of surprises, Cryptid. Oh. I feel like I've just noticed a steep drop that I'd been walking past unawares. As much as I'm startled by it, the adrenaline rush that also comes is thrilling. But how about a drink first? I think the next ending that we can get is for getting way too drunk, so accept. That sounds nice. It does, doesn't it? He waves over a member of the staff who is carrying a tray. He takes 2 glasses and hands one to me. Cheers. We clink our glasses together and I enjoy a sip. Then, to my surprise, Oleander takes a silent step back. Before I can respond, someone has replaced him. A woman, I think, wearing a smooth mask of polished ebony. Hello, you're Vigil. The simple statement of fact catches me off guard. I've gotten too used to talking with Oleander, who always leaves some kind of hook to his words. I am. Good. Pleased to meet you. I'd say the same, but I don't know who you are. Call me Snake. I will then. Pleased to meet you, Snake. You don't play games constantly, the way Oleander does. I like that. Thank you. Is that why you wanted to meet me? As a less annoying way to access him? No, actually. I'm here for you. Should I ask why you want me? Oleander has a habit of training assistants who go on to make careers of their own. Some of them have been quite successful. So I would like to get an early start working with you. As a sponsor for my merchant career? As a patron, let's say. I find some opportunities, you pay me back in favors. I like Oleander, but he is exhausting. If I can build new connections with someone a little less frivolous, well, I suppose not everyone will be charmed by him. I understand. Is this something you need me to decide now? I'd like to have some time to think things over if it's possible. That's reasonable. She picks up 2 wine glasses from a passing tray and holds one out to me. As long as you'll think about it. Take the glass. I take the wine glass. I will. I would be an idiot not to take this chance. I doubt a patron can open more doors for me than Oleander can. But if I have even one more chance to find Lunar Ichor without him, I need to take it. But I'm not about to be desperate about it. My new patron leaves, and Oleander fills the gap as if he was never gone. Have I lost you to a better offer, then? I received a very tempting offer to become a pleasure parlor bunny. But I remembered you ordered me not to do that, and so we renegotiated. Well, I'm glad I can trust somebody to stand by me. And now I have an important question. I'm bracing myself. How are you at dancing? Oh boy, I'm freaking horrible at dancing, but quite good. I'm quite good, actually. What a coincidence. So am I. Shall we show the rest of the party how it's done? He offers me his arm. I like the sound of that. The musicians strike up a new tune as we cross onto the dance floor. Well timed. You'd be surprised how often a little observation and foreknowledge will go in impressing people. He settles a hand on my waist. I'll take the lead this time. Oh, not going to let me sweep you off your feet? That is something I would love to see. The music is playing a sultry tune in 4, and it is easy to predict what style of dance Oleander is going to take. His hand closes around mine, and we begin to glide across the dance floor. He is a confident leader, and I know exactly how to follow. So, Vigil, what do you think of this? I never imagined myself at a party like this before. It's vulgar. I can't say I like seeing all this wealth spent on something unnecessary. It is quite ostentatious, I agree. Overindulgence is a vice, after all, but I'm afraid it is not for you or I to decide how this wealth is spent. We'll just have to make good a use of Lord Valentine's money ourselves. And from the sound of it, you've made some good progress as my assistant. It's a start. He signals a turn, then swings his arm out. I spin outwards, then back in. He holds me closer, bends forward in a shallow dip. And what do you think? Is this life something you like? This one I do believe has to do with some of the affection points. It's what I need to do. I am going as not quite argumentative, but combative as possible, so it's what I need to do. I think a merchant like you understands that sometimes a transaction is out of necessity. Well, that's a little bit of a shame. I rather like working with you, and I'd hoped you would like working with me too. I don't hate it. It just isn't what I want for the rest of my life. That's a fair perspective. We turn across the dance floor. It isn't a contest, but we are easily the most graceful pair on the floor. Oleander's hold on me is firm. He makes no effort to pull me closer into the dance floor or sink his hand lower than it should. For a man so open and forward about his sexuality, it comes as a bit of a surprise. I suppose I've judged him unfairly in that way. I have an impulse, and I do not deny it. I hold tighter to Oleander's shoulder and pull myself just a bit closer. It doesn't take long for him to understand. Oh, is that the game we're playing? He growls those words. And his hand presses firm on my lower waist. I can feel the beat of the music intensify. When he dips me again, his face is so close to mine I can hear our masks scrape against each other. When the music ends, we retreat to the edge of the dance floor. Vigil, let's talk. Okay. I believe I asked you to drink within your tolerances, did I not? You did. And have you? I have. He tuts. You were sloppy while dancing. I feel fine. You feel fine because you're affected. As much as I want everyone to have a good time, the simple fact is that I gave you a clear order and you went against it. I didn't. That will be all for tonight, Vigil. Go home. Meet me at my parlor tomorrow. We'll discuss your termination tomorrow. Oh, he meant it. I'm left standing bewildered in the hall as Oleander walks away. Bad end. You've overindulged. Alright, now I'm going to basically get the neutral ending, so I'm just going to keep my drink to 1. So I'll stick with food here. Not yet, I decide. Maybe later on. Here I am, back with Snake, and I'm also going to decline the drink with her as well, but I did have the single drink with Oleander. So long as you'll think about it. politely decline. I wave my hand just enough to signal my rejection of the wine. No wine for me, thank you, but I will think about your offer. I would be an idiot not to take this chance. I doubt a patron can open more doors for me than Oleander can, but if I have even one more chance to find Lunar Ichor without him, I need to take it. But I'm not about to be desperate about it. My new patron leaves, and Oleander fills in the gap as if he was never gone. Have I lost you to a better offer, then? I received a very tempting offer to become a pleasure parlor bunny. But I remembered you ordered me not to do that, and so we renegotiated. Well, I am glad I can trust somebody to stand by me. And now I have an important question. I'm bracing myself. How are you at dancing? I do the best I can. I try my best, which I think is all anyone can really ask of a person. Adorable. He taps my mask over my nose. Let's try our best, then. He offers me his arm. I like the sound of that. The dance might change slightly, so I'm not going to totally skip through it. The musicians strike up a new tune as we cross onto the dance floor. Because I have a feeling that saying that we're not that great at dancing kind of changes some of the dialogue. Well timed. You'd be surprised how often a little observation and foreknowledge will go in impressing people. He settles his hand on my waist. I'll take the lead this time. I'll follow your lead and endeavor not to tread on your feet then. See right here. I will appreciate the effort. The music plays in earnest, and Oleander quietly prompts me which way I should step for each beat until I pick up the pattern. Our dancing is much simpler than anyone else around us, but we are dancing properly, which is more than I could have said for myself before. So, Vigil, what do you think of this? I never imagined myself at a party like this before. You know what, I'm gonna say it's impressive. I understand why so many stories are set during these kinds of fancy parties now. There is something unreal to this kind of festivity, isn't there? Music, indulgence, sex, and beautiful, mysterious strangers. I'd like to read that in a book. And from the sound of it, you've made some good progress as my assistant. That's a generous assessment. As much as I would prefer you to be flawless from the start, making mistakes early is a good chance to learn. And what do you think? Is this life something you like? I'm gonna say it's what I need to do again, and then when I do my full affection run through, we'll get the other one. I think a merchant like you understands that sometimes a transaction is out of necessity. Well, that's a little bit of a shame. I rather like working with you, and I'd hoped you would like working with me too. I don't hate it. It just isn't what I want for the rest of my life. That's a fair perspective. We turn on the dance floor. I suspect Oleander would dance beautifully with a competent partner, but he seems content to float along doing the easiest steps. For a man as relentless in his flirtations as he is, Oleander is surprisingly gentle. His hands never hold tighter than they must to lead, and the one on my waist never dips lower. There's even something soft about his posture. He's always been casual, but for the first time I think he looks comfortable. I haven't stepped on your foot yet. I'm impressed. You're better at this than you suggested. I could still step on your foot later. I trust that you'll stay careful. When the music ends, we retreat to the edge of the dance floor. Vigil, let's talk. How worried should I be? Not worried at all. You are not about to be admonished. That's a relief. I'd hate to see what you look like when you're being serious. Oh, that'll come soon enough. He pats my shoulder. I just wanted to tell you that tonight has been a pleasure. You're a bright little thing, you know. I do know. So glad you can see it from behind that mask of yours. I try to put on some imitation of his ego. He chuckles. I hope you're not becoming too much like me now. Given how much you adore yourself, I thought you'd like that sort of thing. He shrugs. One of me is more than enough, I think. I wouldn't want to inflict being me on anyone else. Huh. I don't think he meant to sound so heartfelt just then. Those lazy fools need to develop their own sparkling personality. And he's back. Well, I think I've been earnest enough to last me a year. Back to business. Come along, Vigil. This will be a memorable one. I feel a strange sense of anticipation build in me. Oleander promising something memorable has, so far, paid off in impressive sights. He takes us back to the entrance of the hall, approaching a member of the staff. I believe Lord Valentine has agreed to meet privately with me. Of course, sir. The staff member starts walking, and we walk half a step behind them. Just like that? I know Oleander's distinctive, but even so, I would not expect to just be taken to the lord of this household without some kind of proof. Perhaps he has a closer relationship with the master of this house than he mentioned? We walk back down a familiar hall toward the library. The staff member leads us through the labyrinth, and somehow we do not come across any couples in the midst of private business. Here you are. Thank you, Clarity. Oleander tosses the staff member a coin. They bow and leave, and Oleander knocks on the door. Lord Valentine, I believe you were willing to speak with me. It's Oleander. Come in, Mr. Oleander. Lord Valentine's office feels like a natural extension of the library. Lord Valentine himself is a surprisingly small presence in the room, though not for lack of trying. He's dressed ornately, sitting in an impressive desk. He nods to us, but does not stand. Strange. I've taken the liberty to order us a bottle of wine. I'm certain you don't mind. Did he? Perhaps while I was off on my own merry adventures. Very good. I could do with some more wine. When I threw this party, I thought I would get to enjoy more of a carousing myself. Ah, the terrible weight of being sought after. I hope for the sake of future carousing that fewer people take an interest in you. Lord Valentine scoffs. Oh, pardon me, I forgot to introduce myself properly. I am Oleander, as you well know. I pride myself as a merchant capable of both discretion and trustworthiness. He bows. And this is my assistant, Vigil. I bow. A pleasure to meet you, Lord Valentine. An excellent shadow you have for yourself, Mr. Oleander. I hardly noticed them. And to what do I owe your interest? Oleander slides gracefully into the chair across from Lord Valentine. I stay standing, hovering over his shoulder. I really am his shadow. I've heard that you might have need of a new merchant contact, and I thought I would put forward the best name I know, mine. Lord Valentine chuckles. A bold stance. Tell me, how would you live up to it? If I had a pen and some paper, I would record the details of the meeting plainly. As it stands, I can only just keep up with the rapid conversation between the two men. As ridiculous as they might be, both of them understand trade very well. I'm right, it's a lucrative deal if we can get it. A knock on the door interrupts the talk. "Vigil, if you would." I answer the door and bring in the bottle of wine. This is familiar. I don't say anything as I hand the bottle off to Oleander. If he wants to pretend the wine he brought actually came from Lord Valentine's cellar, that's his business. Lord Valentine opens a drawer for his desk and brings out 3 glasses, short ones for liquor as opposed to wine glasses. "Does the assistant drink, Mr. Oleander?" "No, he's not one for drinking." Oleander pours a glass for himself and Lord Valentine. "He really needs to stop speaking on my behalf." "Oh, no, he does not. He doesn't want to poison us." Oleander and Lord Valentine clink their glasses together and drink. Oleander moans, satisfied. "I love doing business with the lords of the market. You serve the best wines." "There's an unusual taste to this one. I'll have to ask where it came from later." Now, where were we? "Discussing the man currently causing you trade difficulties." "Right." Lord Valentine sounds slightly strained. Oleander's exhausting, but Lord Valentine must not have much stamina. They've barely been going for 10 minutes. "If I am to join in your trade enterprise, I would like to know what you plan to do with your roadblock." "We're still deciding." "Between what options? Bribery may work. If the roadblock is just interested in lining his own pockets, there are always threats." Lord Valentine's breathing is getting heavy. But you know better than that. You're the sort of person who sees a problem and hires an assassin about it." "What?" "You heard me perfectly well. You're—" Lord Valentine reaches for his throat. "Hush, Cryptid. All is well." How is it possible for a person to choke on air? Lord Valentine's breath comes in thin, labored heaves. He can't get his voice out. I like the very dramatic movements of the silhouette, by the way. Lord Valentine pounds his desk. "Well, look at that. You should be grateful, you know. If I had my way, I'd be killing you very slowly." What the hell is happening? I couldn't believe my luck, getting a rare personal invitation to Lord Valentine's estate. No references needed. And he was willing to take a meeting? Oleander stands and pounds the desk himself, leaning over Lord Valentine. "Greedy old bastards like you never change. You're the same as you ever were." He spits on the desk. "Just die already. If I don't get to savor it, at least make it quick." Lord Valentine stands unsteadily. He looks straight at me, one hand outstretched. I'm watching a man die. I can't move. I can barely breathe myself. My lungs are squeezed tight with fear. He collapses, arms still stretched towards me. I'm going to throw up. I do, retching violently and making a mess of the beautiful cloak I was given only hours before. Oleander's hand is gentle on my back, running his palm in a circle over my spine. Well, you're certainly not about to forget this. I'm sorry you had to see that, Cryptid. Unfortunately, I needed you here. I'm trembling. It's not just about Lord Valentine, lying dead on the floor. How are you still breathing? The wine you made me pick up, it was poisoned, but you drank it. I've had a lot of time to prepare for this moment, including developing a strong stomach and high tolerances for darker things. If I look up, I will have to see his mask. I don't want to. But I don't want him to think I'm vulnerable, in case he tries something with me. There he is, unreadable. I know you're frightened right now. You're right to be. He stands at his full height. I just saw him kill a man. I don't doubt he could kill me if he wanted. For now, you are safe with me. If you want to stay like that, you need to follow my lead. Lord Valentine suddenly died. He and I both drank the wine that came from his cellar. That is the only truth anyone needs to know, you included. I am trembling so violently that I might collapse. I'm in hell. I am going to alert the guards by screaming. That is your warning. His posture changes. Oleander scrambles to the door, looking suddenly uncoordinated. Help! For the love of the lunar god, we need help! Lord Valentine just died! Help! Neutral end. Do your job, and it will be okay. Okay, so I'm going to try and get all of the affection points with Oleander. We are back at his party. So we've approached the crowd, and now we are going to work towards getting him to like us. You wouldn't like the dirt I'm getting, too normal. Well, that's just boring. I need some entertainment. If you're not going to amuse me, then what's the point of you? Alright. I think the first affection point is to speak. I think her purpose is rather obvious. Everyone's attention is pulled my way, but I'm focusing on Oleander. My goal, as silly as it feels, is to provide the amusement he's clearly seeking. Don't you need a crowd of admirers to delight in addition to your sources of amusement? There's a few little gasps, sounds of a well-targeted jab, and not fear, thankfully. He's right, Oleander. I know a showman when I see one. What's the word for someone leading the show surrounded by acrobats? He's pulled away from the woman he was teasing and leaning a little towards me. Ah, ringmaster, that's right. A ringmaster. Oh, that's the one. I was going to say clown. A smattering of laughter. I don't know if I've crossed a line or if no one else is certain they're allowed to laugh at my jokes. I'm smiling as hard as I can, hoping he can hear that I'm only saying this for fun. You'd make fun of your own dear host, the one who fed you and played music for you. His tone is over-exaggerated drama. This is still a game for him. Thank goodness. I know an attention seeker when I see one. Takes one to know one. I know just your type. You see my parties and start swooning, and before you know it, you're doing everything possible to get my attention. And it worked, didn't it? A few of the surrounding crowd laugh properly. Only because you've set out some irresistible bait, minx. His voice drops a little, getting gravelly at the word minx. Shame I don't have a very gravelly voice, or else I would do better at that. I think I'm at a disadvantage. You know who I am, and as far as I know, you are a wayward high liege of the White Stag House. That's not very far at all. No, it's not. Maybe I want to preserve the mystery. I might be dreadfully boring once you know who I am. And then where will I be? Well then. He turns to the others. Seems I have an admirer. Admirer might be a bit of a strong word. I do admire your chef and their work. If you wanted to know the chef, you would go to the kitchen. No, you want me. Unfortunately, so does everyone else. He gestures broadly, sweeping an arm out to indicate the whole room. There's a smattering of chuckles. And I want wine. I can get you some. No, I think I'd rather get it myself. Ta-ta for now. He walks away, going around the group and passing behind me. Then I feel a hand on my shoulder, then an arm along the top of my back, then a chin on my shoulder. You want my attention? You've got it, minx. Ask the nice lady with the sword for vindication, and you'll see what that gets you. Then he's gone before I can answer. Okay, that was strange. I find the woman with the sword easily enough. In a packed hall, she is still given plenty of space. I'm looking for vindication. You've come to the right place. She opens the door for me, stepping back just enough to let me slip inside. She closes the door behind her. It takes some time for Oleander to show up, in the little room barely bigger than a closet, and with nothing to pass the time. I can't tell how long I've been there. I practically jump in my seat when the door swings open. Well, you're here. Excellent. Apologies for the wait. I'm a man in high demand these days. Took a while to shake off my admirers. I suppose I should thank you for your time. You're very welcome. He slides into the seat opposite of mine, setting a wine glass down in front of himself. Wine? No more for me, thanks. I've got plenty. Still playing games? Sure. Now, the first order of business. What's your name? He holds out his hand. I'm cryptid. I take his hand and shake it once, firmly. Then I tuck my hand back under my cloak. No need to give him more body language to read. A pleasure to meet you. Most people aren't able to play these little games of mine at my level. Anyone who can is worth knowing. You caught my eye from across the room. A little flattery can't hurt. Oh, you mean you saw me and decided that you had to know more about a man of such obvious wealth and charm? Caught my eye might be a misstatement. I heard laughter and had to know the reason. I wasn't suspecting a clown, but in hindsight, that was the obvious answer. Don't bruise my ego too badly now. I need that. Well, now you know who I am. Or at least the important things. What do you want? It's the first thing from his mouth that doesn't sound like a part of his game. This is the test, then. Lunar Ichor. Did I pass the test? Well, that sounds terribly serious. He's saying it with a smile so big I can hear it. Let me guess, Cryptid, you've been around and no one's selling the stuff. Worse than that, you're never going to be able to afford what it costs anyways. Then you find a fancy party with a host who's obviously got coin, and you think to yourself that he might be your ticket to rare and valuable objects. I do have to wonder what your plan for wringing Ichor out of me would be. I'll do work. Any kind of work. Any kind of work. Don't make promises you don't intend to keep. The threat is obvious, but I've already made my choice. Anything. As long as I'm alive at the end, I don't care. Oleander sucks in a breath through his teeth. Don't say that now. Sometimes being alive is the worst thing that can happen to you. I stand by what I said. There's another pause. I let it hang there. I'm not about to change what I've said, no matter what Oleander suggests. Well then, Cryptid, I have some interesting news for you. I take it you don't know my career. Either you've earned your wealth or you were born into it. I earned it, as much as you might doubt me. I call myself a lot of things, depending on who is listening, but I think the most apt term for someone like me is smuggler. I am probably your best hope for finding Lunar Ichor here. And it just so happened that I'm currently looking for a new assistant. Think asking what happened to the last one is the right choice? What happened to your last assistant? Oh, he found himself a new opportunity, sleeping his way to the top of a gambling house. Good for him. That's what I said. Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life, they say. That said, I wouldn't like to have to recruit another assistant so soon. So if you would be so kind to stay with me and not be seduced by anyone else, I could do that. I'm probably not going to find a better option. I'll take the job. Sounds good. I'll take the job. Then you're hired. It's that easy? Oh, there's one more thing. Here's the catch. All of my assistants go by Vigil while on the job. You'll have to agree to that. And I'm not misreading the name this time. I think I can tolerate it for now. Good. He reaches out to me once again, so I respond with yet another handshake. Before I can pull my hand away, however, he grips it a bit more firmly. I hope that working with you is as pleasurable as our conversations have been. He brings my hand up and presses it to the painted mouth on his mask. Then he lets go of my hand and tips his head to the side. I know without needing to see that he is smirking. It was a strange gesture, but it still takes me a second to recollect my thoughts after it. There's a second of silence, but Oleander is quick to fill it with a time and place to meet up tomorrow, as well as more mundane details about the work. If he's being honest about everything, the pay will be decent. The clock tower rings twice. I have no remaining frame of reference to know if it's indicating the middle of the night or the early afternoon, or some mysterious third alternative. What I do know is that I am in the right place at the right time, 2 o'clock at the Candle Park. Vigil, pleased to see you here. You say that like you're surprised to see me. I thought you might just take my secrets and run. I have learned a great deal about Oleander's business. Above ground, I would call him a merchant. He sells goods from the underground and purchases goods from above ground. He connects buyers and sellers. It's the kind of goods he's trading that mark him as unusual. I guess this means you've been ensnared by my good looks and winning personality. There's no way I've learned all your secrets yet. Oh, is that all you want from me? I think your money's good too is the right answer. Your money is pretty good too. Oh, so mercenary of you. Aren't you even a little glad to be seeing me again? Honestly, yes. When I woke up today, I was looking forward to seeing him again, even if he's a danger, and I'm certain he is. He's at least an entertaining one. But from our first meeting, I've known enough about him to know that saying that would make him intolerably smug. Fishing for compliments already. Do you need my approval that badly? He drops his voice both in pitch and volume. There's a difference between need and want, Cryptid. One I would be glad to demonstrate. The tone of his voice is so outrageously vulgar that it stops my thoughts dead for a moment. Later, that is. We have work to do. He sweeps his jacket around and turns into the motion, making his way to a sweetly decorated tea shop. I keep in step just slightly behind him. I think the next one is going to be when we show him the outfit. So I'm just going to skip forward till then. I am going to just choose the black outfit again. I know I try to make all choices in most things, but the black outfit is just so alluring. Being a shadow, you know? I follow Oleander's final direction to a squat apartment building. I have to climb 2 flights of creaky stairs to find the room indicated on the letter. I knock. Oleander? The door is unlocked, darling. It takes a little maneuvering to twist the doorknob when I am carrying several parcels, but I get it done. Well, what kinds of treasures did you find? I hand him the wine bottle. Good job not spoiling the surprise. The shopkeeper called me a pheasant. Don't mind her, that's just her way. What else did you find? You went to Satine like I told you. I did. Good vigil. I roll my eyes, but bring out my discovery. I got a mask this time. It's a nice old mask, but frankly, that's not what I'd like to see you wearing right about now. He's dropped his voice low, and he's smiling. I can hear it. Is he flirting? Anyways, you haven't neglected to rent clothes, have you? I went to the dress cave. Ah, then you've met poor Bobbin. I bring out my parcel, but don't open it. Do I get to see it? Once I'm wearing it, maybe. If you're going to keep me in suspense like this, I suspect it will be very good. If you get your hopes up too high, I'll never meet your expectations. I will set my hopes as high as I please. If you want to satisfy me, you'll simply have to work for it. With that, he starts in on party preparations. He is going in his usual outfit. He has a brand he needs to maintain. He handles the wine while I go to a small side room to get dressed. I re-enter the parlor with my cloak wrapped tight around me. Ah, Cryptid, do I finally get to see what outfit you've chosen? Okay, so I just plain showed him last time, but I'm gonna show off. I spread my arms wide, lifting my cloak away from my body. I pull it back on my left side, then my right, turning my body to give him a better look. Then, on impulse, I turn on the spot, letting my cloak flare up and out. Oleander claps. He's so cute. Bravo, Cryptid. Wearing black under your cloak, you're going to blend into the shadows. If I'm hiding in the shadows, I'll be able to watch without being observed. And you'll be able to listen in to plenty of conversations. Merchants ought to know their clients well, right? That they do. You'll be my shadow then. A shadow that can be sent across a room. I'd prefer to keep you very close for the most part. A man's shadow belongs at his feet. At any rate, you've chosen something stunning. You'll have to chase off work offers with a stick. I wasn't planning on taking a different job. Your rate is quite good. I bow my head to the other guests. They seem like the kind of people who want that. Pleased to meet you. I thought that was your shadow. Well, in a matter of speaking. I'm easy to miss when he's drawing everyone's attention. I'm rather fond of this vigil, new though he may be. The last vigil was skilled, but not much of a social being. Though I heard the last vigil found something very social to do for himself. Yes, he did. I was disappointed to learn he was leaving, but I can't fault him for his reasons. You, on the other hand. He turns to me. I expect you to stay by my side for a long time to come. No running off to get a job as a pleasure parlor bunny, you hear? Okay, so I went with yes, sir, but I think what are you going to do to keep me is the right choice? I don't know. Being a pleasure parlor bunny sounds pretty fun. What are you going to offer to compete? I offer you good wages and an education, and you demand more? There are some unique benefits to working at a pleasure parlor. Well, Vigil, I think these kinds of contract negotiations better happen in private, unless this public negotiation is another benefit. I can't help but laugh. Oh frick, he's found another like him. You two are going to be unbearable. No, don't say that. You'll make poor Vigil feel terrible. I stop my tour around the hall in a dark corner. There are a lot of dark corners in a place like this, of course, but this one is unoccupied. Seriously, this is... I hear someone to the left and behind me, which is a little strange given my back is to a wall, and I cannot see anyone, of course. This is good! But the voices are still there. Curious, I lean just slightly towards the source and focus. If word about this is right, that motherload of silver dust is real. Then we gotta move fast. Oh hell. There's every chance that this is information that will be dangerous for me to hear. We're gonna listen to it anyways. I breathe in and stay put, keeping my ear turned to the wall. My source is on the boat. They say it's coming in 2 weeks. I keep listening. The strangers argue about the reliability of the source. They bicker about what they can do with potential inside information. Then, very suddenly, a large painting swings off the wall and turns toward me. I jump away. The painting swings closed, and I see a woman in a billowing cloak, with peaks of a close-fitting, feathery gown underneath. Okay, there's a secret room behind the painting. After a second, she seems to notice me. We're gonna stay. I stay put, even nod to acknowledge her. I'd say the painting coming off the wall scared the daylights out of me, if I had any daylight left to spare. Oh, I didn't mean to startle you. I assumed you didn't. That wouldn't be a very kind thing to do. What the heck am I doing? My mouth is running on its own. Lord Valentine likes his little hideaways. In a house as big as this, he's probably got dozens of them. I'll have to be careful opening any doors or paintings. Who knows what I'll see. Do be careful. There are so many people engaging in flagrant delicto. I don't know if I pronounced that right. And Lord Valentine doesn't mind? I wouldn't dare assume either way. She's maintaining a conversation, but it's obvious in her body language that she doesn't want to be here. That does feel like a dangerous thing to ask a lord. Do you mind all the intimacy going on at your party? Feels like the sort of thing you say to get kicked out. Yes. Goodbye. Farewell, pleasure talking with you. I hold my breath as she leaves, and then sigh. 1 point to me for making someone dangerous so uncomfortable they leave. I can let Oleander know about what I've heard once I know we're in private. I decide to continue my trip around the hall before anyone else emerges from a painting. So I've arrived at the library with Adonis. The light here is lower and the sound is muted. It takes a moment, but I recognize the room as a library. Do you want to take a seat? Let's. There's an alcove with a padded bench, perfect for a few lazy hours of reading. We settle there and he leans in. I can clearly see the fine detailing on his mask. Up close, I can finally see that his mask is gilded, too. I'm gonna tell him to stop touching. I feel a little less at ease with Adonis in this moment. Being a little familiar with me, aren't you? Fake it till you make it, as they say. Well, not this time. He takes his hand off my back. He's still sitting close, but him keeping his hands to himself is already a significant improvement. Apologies, I'll see to it that I earn the right to be close to you. That being said, I wonder if you have a strict prohibition on all touch, or if you would be less bothered in a more private scenario. The sound of a rogue moan amongst the shelves is a firm reminder that we are not alone in this room. You did offer to show me your room, after all. Well, even if he's a little too familiar, I can't fault him for cowardice. I'm just gonna say I'm working right now. Well, I suppose I shall have to put off seeing your old mask for another day. Until then, however. He stands up, then he takes a little card from inside his jacket and hands it to me. His attention is unsettling. I know things are different in the marketplace, but even so, I didn't expect to be approached out of the blue like this. The best I can say for him is that he backed off a bit when I asked. Vigil, welcome back. Good to see you haven't gotten into any trouble. Now, don't pretend to be my minder now. I'd be much more concerned about you causing trouble. I've been having some adventures. Oh, enlighten me then. I think this is the kind of news you'd rather hear in private. Is it that salacious? What have you been up to, assistant of mine? You'll have to wait and see. You think that you're teasing me by saying that, but I quite enjoy the thrill of delayed gratification. Oh my. I genuinely cannot tell if he thinks I have gossip for him or if he's simply playing it off that way to avoid suspicion. Speaking of which, the card I received from Adonis sits heavy in my pocket. Tell Oleander. I have a new admirer. That bad, was it? I hold out the business card. Oleander takes it from me and his posture changes. Well, I may need to have a word with him. Adonis is a competitor of mine. Hard as it may be to believe, he doesn't like me very much. But I will not have him interfering with my employee as a part of this feud. You think this is about you? He may very well find you intriguing and charming. In fact, I rather suspect he does. But I wouldn't be surprised if his interest in you had something to do with being my assistant. He returns the card to me. I suspect you're not interested in meeting him again, but if you do, tread lightly. Now, are you going to ask me what I've been up to? Have you been flirting and deal-making and putting yourself at the heart of the party? However did you guess? You are, if you'll forgive me saying, sir, a bit predictable. He chuckles, the sound coming from deep within his chest. He leans in close, his mask brushing the hood of my cloak. Then he rumbles. Just because you haven't seen them yet doesn't mean I'm not full of surprises, Cryptid. Oh. But how about a drink first? I will say yes. That sounds nice. We clink our glasses together, and I enjoy a sip. Then, to my surprise, Oleander takes a silent step back. Wait, whoa! Before I can respond, someone has replaced him. A man, I think, wearing a gilded wolf muzzle mask with a distinct patina. Hello, you're the newest vigil, if I recall. I am. Excellent! I was looking forward to meeting you. I'd say the same, but I don't know who you are. Ah, yes, you can call me... They think about it just long enough that they may be putting on a show. Wolf. That'll do nicely. Pleased to meet you, Wolf. I'm certain that's your name. I see why he likes you. Thank you. Is that why you wanted to meet me? In a manner of speaking, yes. I don't know how much you know about Oleander's previous assistants. Only that the last one left to pursue another career. Well, that was an unusual case, but some of his other assistants left when they founded trading careers of their own. Makes sense. Treat working for him like an apprenticeship. Exactly, and those assistants have gone on to be quite successful. And unfortunately, I failed to see their potential in time. So I'm a business opportunity. Patron sounds more appealing, I would say. I think I could bring a few opportunities your way, and in exchange for that assistance, you might be able to find some things you could do for me. Can't say I expected this. It's an appealing offer, but do you need a response now? Parties like these feel like good places to propose deals, but not seal them. He laughs. No, I agree with you. This is neither the time nor the place to make that choice. He picks up 2 wine glasses from a passing tray and holds one out to me. You'll think on it, won't you? I'm gonna decline the glass. I wave my hand just enough to signal my rejection of the wine. No need to bribe me, I'll think on this offer, even if you didn't give me wine. I would be an idiot not to take this chance. I doubt a patron can open more doors for me than Oleander can, but if I have even one more chance to find Lunar Ichor without him, I need to take it. But I'm not about to be desperate about it. My new patron leaves, and Oleander fills in the gap as if he was never gone. Have I lost you to a better offer, then? I received a very tempting offer to become a pleasure parlor bunny, but I remembered you ordered me not to do that, so we renegotiated. All right. How are you at dancing? I'm gonna say quite good. I'm quite good, actually. What a coincidence. So am I. Shall we show the rest of the party how it's done? He offers me his arm. I like the sound of that. And what do you think? Is this life something you like? I think this is the last one. I like this. I think that's the right choice. The life of a merchant's assistant isn't so bad. I think I could come to enjoy this. Oh, so a beautiful outfit and a high-class party are only enough to make you think you might enjoy this life. What'll it take to convince you? You're insatiable. You'll just have to keep impressing me. That won't be too hard for you, right? I'm glad you're beginning to understand. We turn across the dance floor. It isn't a contest, but we are easily the most graceful pair on the floor. When he dips me again, his face is so close to mine I can hear our masks scrape against each other. I know he likes to present himself as always having fun, but this is the first time I feel like he's having fun without any secondary motive. We're just dancing. When the music ends, we retreat to the edge of the dance floor. Vigil, let's talk. How worried should I be? I get the distinct impression he's smiling at me. Let's take this somewhere a little more private. I expect him to go towards the library, but instead he leads me towards the stairs, and we climb them. At the top of the stairs there is what amounts to a walkway that wraps around the ballroom, with the floor below in an easy view. There are people up here, but fewer than I would have guessed. I suppose compared to the library, this is not ideal for most kinds of antics. But it is at least a little quieter. Let's take a stroll, shall we? Oleander offers me his arm, and I take it. We start our stroll. It's good to be back. I was away from this sort of thing for a while, you know. Down in the dust chambers? You were listening. Well done. It's my job, isn't it? I'd be a poor assistant if I wasn't paying attention to you. Except all those times you sent me away, of course. And in sending you away, you've had plenty of adventures. Spreading your wings is important in this business. And I quite like you, Cryptid. Not everyone wants to work and keep up with me. I'm glad to have someone with me who is able to follow me so well. His voice gets so gentle for a second. I don't trust easily, and you're certainly not there yet. But it's been easy to start the process with you. I don't know how to say what's in my head. If I tell Oleander that being with him has been fun and enlightening, an experience I'm glad to be having, I doubt he would take me seriously for long. And his ego would be unbearable. It's been a pleasure working with you. You say that like you're about to stop. At least wait until the night is over before you decide to leave me. I still have something show-stopping to show you. He makes it sound sexual, of course. Is this your way of propositioning me? Depends on if you're looking to be propositioned and what you would want from that. I've hardly had a chance to think that far. If you're as good as your boasting makes you sound, it's not boasting if it's accurate. Then it's just a statement of fact. After all the facts you've implied to me, your record sounds incredible. Now I'm curious if the man lives up to the legend. After tonight, if you still want to work with me, you can always ask. You won't be winning any advantages in your career, but if you consider a good romp its own reward, well, that's not what I was expecting him to say. At least he's not expecting sexual favors from me. I'll consider it. I'm glad. Give it a thought. It's not long until we finished a complete circuit of the walkway. Well, I've got one more bit of business to accomplish tonight. Come along, Vigil. This will be something memorable. I feel a strange sense of anticipation build in me. Oleander promising something memorable has, so far, paid off in impressive sights. Lord Valentine, I believe you were willing to speak with me. It's Oleander. Come in, Mr. Oleander. Lord Valentine's office feels like a natural extension of the library. I don't say anything as I hand the bottle off to Oleander. If he wants to pretend the wine he brought actually came from Lord Valentine's cellar, that's his business. Lord Valentine opens a drawer for his desk and brings out 3 glasses, short ones for liquor as opposed to wine glasses. Oleander pours a glass for himself and Lord Valentine. He really needs to stop speaking on my behalf. Oleander and Lord Valentine clink their glasses together and drink. Oleander moans, satisfied. There's an unusual taste to this one. I'll have to ask where it came from later. Now, where were we? Discussing the man currently causing you trade difficulties. Lord Valentine's breathing is getting heavy. Lord Valentine reaches for his throat. Hush, cryptid. All is well. How is it possible for a person to choke on air? Lord Valentine's breath comes in thin, labored heaves. He can't get his voice out. Lord Valentine pounds his desk. Well, look at that. You should be grateful, you know. If I had my way, I'd be killing you very slowly. Greedy old bastards like you never change. You're the same as you ever were. He spits on the desk. Just die already. If I don't get to savor it, at least make it quick. Lord Valentine stands unsteadily. He looks straight at me, one hand outstretched. I'm watching a man die. I can't move. I can barely breathe myself. My lungs squeeze tight with fear. He collapses, arms still stretched towards me. I'm going to throw up. I do, retching violently and making a mess of the beautiful cloak I was given only hours before. Oleander's hand is gentle on my back, running his palm in a circle over my spine. Well, you're certainly not about to forget this. I'm sorry you had to see that, cryptid. Unfortunately, I needed you here. I'm trembling. It's not just about Lord Valentine lying dead on the floor. How are you still breathing? The wine you made me pick up, it was poisoned, but you drank it. I've had a lot of time to prepare for this moment, including developing a strong stomach and high tolerances for darker things. I look up, I will have to see his mask. I don't want to. But I don't want him to think I'm vulnerable in case he tries something with me. There he is, unreadable. I know this is difficult for you right now. He cups my cheek through my hood. For right now, I need you to play along with me. You're good at that, cryptid. Lord Valentine just died suddenly. He and I both drank wine from his cellar. That's all you need to say. I'm trembling in earnest, shocked from seeing someone die, fear that I'll be next. My empty stomach churns. I'm in hell. I have to scream now. Cover your ears if you need to. He turns to the door and stumbles towards it. Help! For the love of the lunar god, we need help! Lord Valentine just died! Help! Good end. You've learned the rules of the game. Oh, fantastic. Thank you for playing Obscura. I kind of missed that, sorry. Stay tuned, but we're expecting more of a story. Well, this was a bit of a long video, but if you made it this far, thank you all for watching. I really enjoyed Oleander's route. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I hope that you all enjoyed it too. He is quite an interesting man, as I am sure the other love interests are also very interesting. If you did like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more of me, but you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. I upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, and sometimes extras and shorts randomly throughout the week. I also stream on Twitch on, right now it's been Fridays and Saturdays, so if you want to see me, come on in then. And I hope to see you all next time. Bye!